So what I'm doing is making molds for my Loki Daggers. Going to be trying to use AlgaSafe Breeze because this is just a junk mold, and Garrick from No One's Designs mentioned using this for quick, easy molds. So I'm going to try this and see how it works out for this, because I really just need to do like one casting so I can clean it up and make it nice and then make my final mold. But I've never used this before, so we're going to see how it's going to go. And I'm also going to be filming it up here for a video later on that I started already on making molds and finishing 3D prints. So that'll be going up later. Let me get this camera set up, and then I'm going to be doing this. I always narrate over my videos later, so it won't matter that I'm talking and hanging out in here and doing stuff. Okay, everything looks good. I've never used this before, so if it doesn't work, sorry. But it all looks good. All right. So, as always, safety first. Gloves. And so I have 3 molds, one for the blades, one for the hilts, and this little baby one for the pommel. I just used a little measuring cup and cut it out and plopped it over that. All right, so this stuff needs warm water to mix with it. Throw it on the water for a second. I recognize that's the dog over there. She's annoying because she likes to bark a lot. She's an old lady dog. She's 14, and every little sound makes her bark. So she's probably barking because I'm talking.
I promise I'm still here. I'm just getting water.
Alright, so I'm going to make 6 ounces of this stuff. So there's 5 ounces of water. It's a 5 to 1. So I'm going to do 5 ounces of water and an ounce of this stuff, and that should be enough for all 3 molds based on my calculations. I've been known to be wrong though, so we'll see. That glove got jacked, so I'm putting on a new one. Yes, a little anal about that. And I probably should be measuring this out in something else instead of just measuring it all in one, but I'm just gonna go for it because it's junk mold. Who cares? So I've never used this stuff. According to the instructions, you pour it in, mix it, and it changes color, so you know it's ready to go. And it's pretty quick. Which is kind of nice. The other thing though is it doesn't last very long. So you actually have about 4 hours to make a casting, because then it just kind of decomposes and you have no more mold left. So we're gonna mix this vigorously. And yes, I'm wearing my Voltron shirt and no apron, which I should be wearing. This is so weird. I'm not used to mixing things with water instead of like part A and part B, and it's all like really weird and chunky looking. And ooh, I can feel it getting thicker. That's cool. And I can feel it getting warm. Oh yeah, look at that. It's getting sludge-like. Oh, and it's suddenly getting lighter blue, which is what it's supposed to be, and turning into like consistency of like a silicone. This is so cool. All right, I get excited about chemicals doing stuff. Sorry. This stuff is pretty thick, but we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna start with the hilts, because why not? I think that is pretty good. Hey, Charles. Sorry, I can't type right now, but I can talk. See how this goes. I've never used this stuff before, so let's hope it works. The reason I'm going over on these sides is there's these little cavities under the hilt where the blade slots in. So I want to make sure that gets captured. The pot life on this is 3 minutes, so I should probably go a little faster. I have a feeling that I do not have enough for all 3 of these. Like I said, I'm not very good at calculating these things. I'll get better eventually, I'm sure. I think this is like maybe enough just for this one. That's okay. I can make more. Yeah. Ooh. Stuff sets up pretty fast. It's really fun. I love making molds, and I wish I did it more. Oh, wow. This stuff is like, that was way faster than 3 minutes. Ah. And it didn't even cover everything. All right. I need to make more for that, and for that, and for that. I'll be right back. More water and another cup. One thing with the algae that it does say is that the warmer the water, the faster it sets up. The colder the water, the longer it takes. So I probably had the water a little bit warmer than ideal for what I was trying to do. I'm just going to make another 6 ounces because I think I will probably use it all. And I'll pour more and talk less. I'm making pretty small batches, so I'm not. One of the things that it says on the AlgaSave data sheet is that for ideal results to use like one of those mixing paddle things on like a drill, but since I'm making such a small batch, it doesn't really make sense to bust out the drill and the big old thing. Plus, it doesn't really fit in these cups. And I don't like making big batches of things, especially things that kick this fast, because I probably would have just wasted a ton of it if I had made a big batch. There you go. Oh, this seems thicker than the last batch. Too much. Come on, just fill that sucker up. This is the pommel on the hilt. Oh no! Get in there! All the way down. Go! Squish it in there. Force it. Get in there. Good thing this is a junk mold. Gosh. See, this is what I get. I decide to do it live, and that's like the worst one I've ever made. That's how it goes, right? I think it's supposed to. That's how it's supposed to happen. Anytime you do something live, it never works out the way you want it to. I should cram this in here. Because why not? All right. Not too bad. I got 2 out of the 3 done. It's split in half. It'll be, I printed everything in half so it's flat, and since this is the junk mold, it's just easier to make a flat mold instead of like needing to make something that's all the way around. So with these junk molds, I'll cast the halves and then I'll glue them together. And then I'll actually, the final molds will be solid pieces, not halves. But just for this, it was easier to just, because it's really easy to do a 1-part mold like this where it's just the flat halves. So the final mold will be a 2-part mold for each. It's going to be, the whole hilt will be 1 piece. I actually have, this is a 3D print, but the hilt will be, it'll have the pommel on it will be 1 piece, and it has this little slot in here. And so I'm going to cast these blue, and then I'm going to cold cast the blade, so it'll actually have like some metal in it, and so I can buff them and get like a metallic sheen. If you saw Eric's Wonder Woman sword, he did the cold cast on the blade, so basically the same thing. And that way it'll be 2 pieces when I sell it if you buy a kit, and the blade will just stick right in there. And so it'll have the metal blade and the blue handle as 2 separate pieces. Okay, now I need to make 1 more batch for the blades.
More water. Sorry for running water names.
Alright, let's see if I can do this last one without making... Oh, and I left my cutting mat under here. That was unintentional. These are supposed to be on my nice silicone mats that nothing sticks to. That's better. Alright. You want a dagger? I assume that's what you mean. It's too much water. Okay, good. So yeah, I'm gonna have the 3D kits up probably later today in my store, and then hopefully by the end, before the end of the week, before the 4th or the 3rd, whatever the premiere day is. Hopefully before then I'll have these all done and ready, have the final mold, and have the resin kits up too. Goals! Hey, James. This is, hopefully you guys can hear me okay and all that good stuff, since this is my first time using this camera and doing a live thing with it. It's one of those Logitech streaming webcam deals that I hopefully will be using for my Twitch channel when I get that all going in my workshop. This is not my workshop, as you can see. It's the other way. There's the refrigerator, because this is my kitchen. Good. I was hoping I wasn't just talking to myself and nobody could hear me because that's what it's like most of the days around here. By myself, working, nobody can hear me. I just talk to myself. I don't really, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'm a little worried that this stuff is too thick and it's not going to get around everything, but we'll see. Yeah, the really interesting thing about this stuff, like I think I mentioned earlier, is that the molds are only good for about 4 hours. So like you have to get them demolded and cast into them pretty quickly. This stuff is, AlgaSafe is mostly, what it's made for is for doing life casting, so it's like completely skin safe. So like for making fake body parts and making molds from it. You can get, there's a thicker one that you can actually brush on, which is what you use for doing like head castings and stuff. Oh, thanks. I did the backsplash myself. I actually did the whole kitchen myself, but yeah. I do that stuff too. It's fun. I like the home improvement-y stuff. Yes. Okay. See, this is what it should look like. Nice and clean and flat. I wish these looked like that. That's okay. It's all good. So this stuff, cure time is 8 minutes. Okay. So I'm gonna go put on the timer for that. I'm gonna stop the other camera. Because it doesn't need to run while these just sit here. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, so this stuff is, I actually have a big box of the powder, which, the thicker powder stuff, which is for like head casting stuff. I have a whole bunch, I bought all the supplies to do a head cast, but I need somebody to help me with that because I can't do that by myself, obviously. Well, I could probably try, but it would probably be a disaster if I tried to cast my own head. But yeah, so this stuff is mostly made for, it's skin safe, so like for doing like hands and feet and heads and things. And so the idea is you make the mold of your body part and you do like a plaster cast of it, and then the mold is garbage. So these molds will be garbage as soon as I pour resin in them. And I'm going to be using, I have this Onyx Fast resin that I don't really like, but it cures really fast. And I have it, and so since this is junk anyways, I'm going to use this to make the junk castings too. Everybody likes my kitchen. Hey Alan, hey Heather. So this stuff specifically is like, because you're supposed to do like a plaster cast and like break it out, this stuff specifically is designed to like break down pretty quickly. So you can basically just break the mold off of the casting instead of like normal with a silicone mold, which is what I'll eventually make off of the final thing. The mold lasts. So I mean, like my Voltron Bayard mold, I was just talking about the other day. I pulled over 100 Bayards out of that mold, and it's nearing the end of its lifespan because they do break down over time, obviously. And so I'm actually working on, oh, it's over here somewhere. I'm working on doing a new mold based on my Bayard 2.0, which is in pieces. So this is a 3D print of the 2.0, which is the one that like all like connects together. And I put a coat of XTC on it in preparation for getting it finished to mold. But the nice thing with this is sort of like what I'm doing with the Dagger, where I'm going to be doing, yeah, it's just a junk mold right now. And so I can clean it up easier than a 3D print. And then I'll for this though, because there's so many pieces, I'll probably, and it's not as hard to finish as the Dagger, I'll actually finish these 3D pieces all the way and make them my master. and then go straight to a final mold on this. But then I can cast all the pieces in color, and it'll be these need to be sanded down and stuff, but they all just slide together pretty easily. So everything will be cast in color, and so even a resin kit will pretty much, if somebody isn't, oh yeah, I did the 3D printing and the 3D design too. Thanks for answering, everybody else. I should pay attention to what people are saying instead of just talking. But yeah, so I'll be able to cast everything in color, and so for people who don't want to finish things themselves, but also don't want to pay for like a fully finished prop, they could get the kit in full color and just assemble it, and it'll be usable the way that it is. So I don't know how good this is. So this is a raw print of, come on, focus. It's not gonna do it. Too close. I don't know if you can actually see the lines. But so this is a raw print, and it has lots of lines. This is a raw print. Actually, this is a curvy piece, so I'll use that with a coat of XTC on it, just a single coat. So it gets pretty smooth. And normally, like with, normally what I'm going to do with this is I'll sand this down pretty smooth and then probably do another coat of XTC or maybe just some filler primer to make it all smooth for the master. With the Dagger, because it just has a lot more complex surfaces, what I'm going to do is do this junk mold, do a junk casting, glue all the pieces together, and then finish that and then make the nice mold, just because it'll be easier. XTC is this stuff right here. It's basically an epoxy type deal. It stinks, and so you should wear, and gives off chemicals, so you should wear a mask. Oh yeah, so that's actually something I've played with. The problem with making them, it depends on how exactly you're going to do it. So I made a mold with my 3D printer. Basically, I took a part that I designed and then did the reverse and printed it. The problem is it really depends on what you print with, because obviously this isn't flexible at all, and the whole point of making a casting out of a mold is that the mold can flex around and get your casting out. But I actually toyed with the idea of, I just got some of the water-soluble filament and printing a mold with that, and then pouring resin into it, and then dissolving the mold. So again, it would be basically printing a junk mold. So I'm going to try that hopefully in the near future on something. I don't know what, but I thought that would be a cool way to do a junk mold, would be to just print it. But there are filaments that you can get that are more flexible, and so what you print is more flexible, that you might be able to do that with. It really depends on what the thing is that you're going to be printing and casting, and how complex it is. Like something that's really simple and like flat shapes, as long as you could print it in something that's a little bit flexible, you could probably pour something into it and get it out. Or if what you're pouring in is flexible, like if you were doing like some sort of like silicone casting. I know I've seen, I saw somebody, I recommended this to Beverly as an option when she was working on figuring out how to do her Hella suit, but somebody did printed out like a design mold, and then they poured silicone into it and laid fabric on it, and so when it cured they pulled it out and they had like the silicone pattern like embedded on the fabric. So that's an option too. All right, 30 seconds left, which means the other stuff should be ready to go. Let's see. Ooh. It would help if I had any idea what the consistency of this stuff was supposed to be like, but that seems too goopy still. But again, maybe it's supposed to be like that since it's... Probably should have figured that out ahead of time. Well, this is a small piece, so if it's if I ruin it, it's pretty easy to redo. Oh, I need to turn on the other camera. Doo-doo-doo. Okay. So let's cut this out of here and see what happens. Came out pretty good, actually. Better than expected. Oh, I'm getting a mess here. I don't like that. I was kind of afraid of that. So I usually use this foam board whenever I make molds because it's really easy. You'll see in the video that I was making before I turn on the live stream how easy it is to make mold boxes by scoring foam core. But this stuff is so wet because it's mixed with water, it's making the foam board fall apart. Well, so much for reusing these mold boxes, which I do sometimes. But hey, it doesn't matter. As long as I get a good mold out of it, I'll be happy. Uh-oh. Well, apparently, unlike with silicone rubber, you can't pour more Algasafe on top of Algasafe and expect it to stick together. Because it looks like it's wanting to break apart where I poured the second layer in. Also because I did such a crappy job, it's not laying flat. But hey, look, there's my pretty parts. I'll have to prop that up somehow before I pour the resin in. My goodness, so much mess. Yeah, that would probably work better for using this stuff. Oh, this one didn't do it as much. I think part of the problem with that first one is that I used too much water. I thought I measured it out well, but wow. It's amazing how much better this one came out than the other one. I didn't really do anything differently, but that's how it goes. All right, let's see. Come on. It doesn't hold its shape very well either compared to like a silicone resin. I mean a silicone mold, but I guess that's to be expected. All right, let's see how to prop this up so I can pour something into it. I'm going to use some of my trash. Yeah, I do try to, whenever I do like write-ups and videos and things, I try to put them up on GeekDead too, which is nice that I have the ability to do that. More exposure, yay! Exposure is good. Huh. Yeah, that would be good. I do not have any sand. That's brilliant, though. So last I heard, they weren't planning on doing another season. I actually ran into Leanna Vamp at San Diego Comic-Con, and I stopped her to ask her about it. And she said, yeah, it sucks. Write to Sci-Fi and tell them you want more. So, you know, do that. Okay, well, I think that's about as good as it's going to get. So, now comes the resin part. Yay! Okay, be right back.
Yeah, it's like they didn't tell anybody that they weren't doing it either, which kind of sucked. And I know a bunch of people who had been contacted about season 2. I'll do my own show, sure. I know a bunch of people who had been contacted about season 2 and had like started the process, and then it just kind of like disappeared. So yeah, that sucks because it was really good, especially compared to what was the other one? Heroes of Cosplay, which I know like there was a bunch of drama around all of it. But it was still pretty good, and it's one of the reasons why I decided to really get into cosplay, despite all the fake drama that they made in the show. And it's kind of cool that I've met a lot of the people who have been on it now, who were on it, I mean, Heroes of Cosplay, like Yaya and Jesse, and I can't remember who else was on it, but it's pretty cool. Since pretty much everybody on here, except for James, is actually a cosplayer. As you all know, the cosplay community is pretty fucking awesome. And it's one of the best things about being a cosplayer, in my opinion. I'm making way too much of this, I know. But at this point, because I'm in a hurry, I'd rather make too much and waste a whole bunch, and since I don't care about this stuff really, I really don't care if I waste too much. Oh yeah, Commander Holly. I've met her. I haven't met Jessica, her partner in crime, on the show. This is I'm just doing Onyx fast, since I need to do something fast. Although now that I'm seeing how wet this is with the water, I'm actually worried that this is not going to cure properly, because Onyx fast especially is really susceptible to like moisture and stuff, which is one of the reasons why I hate it so much. But let's see what happens. And especially because I poured so much, it's going to cure really fast, so I'm making a mess. But that's okay. Oh, yes, sludge time. All done. That was fast. This resin, so this is really fast, which is why I specifically use this. This is where is it? I always keep these around because I'm anal about that. 2.5 minutes is the pot life, so you basically have to pour it really fast. Yeah, see, cup of half poured, and it's super hot, so I'm gonna set it down because it's kind of burning my hand. Yeah, it's 2.5 minute pot life, and it cures in about 10 minutes, so really fast. Which again is ideal for what I was doing, but it is one of the reasons why I don't really like it. And you can even see, well, you probably can't see actually, but can you see all the little bubbles? It's super, I don't know. I never have good luck with it, which is why I don't use it for anything. Eric uses it. He loves it. I don't know how he's so successful with it, but that's because he's Eric, I guess. You can rewatch as many times as you want. It'll be on my YouTube channel too, I think, because you can save the Facebook videos and then upload them to YouTube, so that way it'll be in both places. Yeah, no problem. And like I said, I am shooting. Oh, I need to turn that off. I'm shooting video up there too, down here, and it'll actually be like an edited, narrated video of the whole process. So before I started the live stream yesterday, I actually did the XTC coding and talked about that, and finishing the 3D parts and prepping for making the molds before I started this video. But these sheets. Oh. Don't touch the molds, are really cool because nothing sticks to them. So they're really great for doing like resin casting and XTC stuff because everything just pops right off. Don't need these anymore right now. Setting the timer for demolding these guys. Yeah, thanks for coming, Derek. I'm probably going to be done in a second anyway. I'm actually checking to see my daughter is napping, and she'll probably be waking up any second now, in which case I'll have to stop anyway. No, still asleep. It's going to be like 10 minutes, so I don't know if you can wait 10 minutes. Resin popsicle. Terrible. It's like a combo of like cosplay and dad joke all in one. What's everybody else doing today? Thanks for laughing. I appreciate it. It was terrible. Nobody should have laughed. This is like the messiest thing I think I've ever done as far as casting and molding goes. I usually am not this bad. I need to work on my stage presence, maintaining my cool and doing everything while also doing live streaming and talking to people. Oh, and so much mess, gosh. Since this is all garbage anyway, I will pull all of this off of here. Well, most of it. I'll actually be able to make a dagger out of all these pieces magically. That's what it's for, right? Actually, before I do anything with it, I should wait and make sure these come out because I might have to do another mold of these pieces with something that is not goopy and watery and runny. That would be okay. It's all about experimenting and trying new things, right? It's what we do. So this is what a 3D kit will basically look like. Let's go together. This fits on there. And obviously this isn't going to go together as nicely as it should because of all this paper crap, but and then this just goes right in there. And there you will have your Loki Dagger. And I'm actually printing them in this color. So again, technically, if somebody didn't want to finish stuff and just wanted something that was fairly good but not screen accurate, they could just glue it all together and be done and use it. I have to try and get 2 of these finished before next weekend for Jet City, because I think I'm going to do Loki on Saturday. Not sure yet. My crown and horns are on the way, and it's an unfinished resin kit. So we'll see if I can get it done before Saturday. I'm not sure what day it's actually going to get here because it just shipped on Friday. So we'll see. I got it from, I'm getting it from No One's Designs. Hey, look, I mentioned them twice already today. They're pretty awesome. But yeah, so they're sending me a kit. We're doing a swap because Jackie wants one of my Final Fantasy rings. So I'm making her a ring, and they sent me their, I think it's their first pull of their molds that they made for the crown and horns. First or very early one. So yeah, so that's on the way, and I am not going to have the costume ready because all I have is like 2 pieces of unfinished foam armor. But the nice thing about having the crown and horns is you can wear that with pretty much anything and you can be Loki. So I'm going to do, if I get it done, I'm going to wear my nice suit and be formal Loki with daggers. I think that'll work. 5 more minutes. Thanks for staying and hanging out. It's kind of weird. It tells you when people join, but not when they leave. So I'm just assuming everybody's still here, except for Derek, because he said he was leaving. And maybe Jim, because he said he was leaving, but then he said he was waiting, so I don't know. If Loki doesn't work, I'll just do Sirius again, because why I wouldn't you? This is one of the things I love about 3D printing, by the way, and doing 3D props is this didn't print all the way. It failed in the middle. But so I did the design and I designed the model, and then I didn't check the scale to make sure that it was like the final thing was the right size. And I printed it, and so this is baby Dagger. But it was a good test of, I think I glued this all together. But it was a good test to make sure that the parts actually all fit. That the blade fit into the little slot that I made, and the pommel fit on the hilt. And you can see, so this was like the initial rough prototype design. And then when I scaled it up, I added in like the more, like the grip details and stuff. And made it bigger. This is the letter opener version, I think. It's about the right size. Oh, I also changed the blade because when I did it originally, I just did like a quick thing, and so the blade, you can kind of see, yeah, it's just rounded, so it's not really a blade at all. And then when I redid the scale and tweaked into everything else, now it actually, there. It's kind of hard to see on a half. But it actually has like a point. I need a white background. Over here. There we go. No, that way. No, you really can't see it, what I'm trying to do, because I cannot manage to hold this to the camera the right way. Anyway, it has like a sharp edge on it now instead of the curved edge, which makes it more dagger-like. Two and a half minutes left. Check the baby. These are really cool, by the way. Totally off topic, but they're these little clip-on lenses. This one is a 0.65x wide-angle lens, which I put on my iPhone, and I use it to shoot video when I'm doing my videos for YouTube, my tutorials and stuff, because I just put the camera on the tripod that's right here that you can't see. But it's cool because it's just like 2 feet up, but since it's the wide angle lens, like I get the whole area in the camera pretty well. And, you know, it's an iPhone camera, so it's a pretty good camera anyway. That came in a kit that actually has like several different lenses, but I only ever use that one. Still sleeping. Just waiting for the resin to cure. So exciting. One more minute, and then we'll try it. Oh, sounds pretty done. So this, you can see, like, this stuff is so weird. I'm used to silicone, but there's the palm. Where did the pommel go? There it is. Ta-da! Duplication, rapid duplication. That was much faster than printing another one. Yeah, it's interesting. These are so wet. They're like weeping water. I wonder if it would have worked better if I'd like tried to dry it out. Probably not. I think it's just going to constantly leak water until it dies. I don't know if you can see. It's kind of interesting. Not really. It's really uneven. Even though the mold is perfectly even and like smooth, the casting is not, because like I mentioned, onyx is really susceptible to moisture. So this might be more work than cleaning up the 3D print. We shall see. Although, I mean, the nice thing about doing a junk resin cast is that resin is so much easier to work with than a 3D print. It's just softer, so it sands better. It's easier to fill and prime and everything else. So it'll probably still be better. Now here's where I'm going to fake the other video. I'm going to put that back in there like I didn't take it out yet. And then I'm going to turn on the other camera. Oh, I took it down. I don't know why I put it away. It's like behind the scenes movie magic, except much more boring. Go. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to demold this for the first time. And look, it just falls right out. It's amazing. I've never had anything come out of a mold quite so easily before. Yeah, they're pretty bumpy, but they're also pretty cool. I'm gonna go post-cure these in my toaster oven. Boop. They're pretty good. I mean, for a junk mold out of something I've never used before that I kind of screwed up a lot. But hey, look, Dagger parts. Dun, da, da, da. I almost want to do like a time lapse on these molds to see if you can like actually see them like break down over time. So I have a feeling that I think what happens is like the water just like will just like continue to seep out of them until they like dissolve back into like nothing. It's really weird. Really floppy too. And so, I mean, look at this. It's like just moisture constantly coming off of them. It's so weird. I don't know. All right, I'm gonna go put these in the oven and I'm gonna be done. So thanks for coming. Bye everybody.